Hi guys and welcome to another Train Sim 2021 video. Today we are doing something a little bit special for me because of course this is the official launch day of the Cambridge to Peterborough line by Thomson Sim. This has been a labour of love for many months now. Some of you will have seen some previews on stream, and there was also a preview video a little while ago, but it looks pretty different to this just now. This will be released on the 24th of September 2020 and will be available for subscribers of AlanThompsonSim.com and non-subscribers. So the subscriber price, so if you are a subscriber to AlanThompsonSim.com already, this will cost you the princely sum of $9.99, and if you are not a subscriber, it will cost you $19.99. I'll make sure your requirements and everything are in the list below so you can see that. Let's get going because I'm short of time and I want to show this off properly while we're here. So we're just south of Cambridge at the minute on an L&ER diverted service. So good day driver. Due to essential weekend engineering works on the East Coast Main Line between Hitchin and Peterborough, services are diverted via Cambridge for the duration of the weekend. This service is head code 1 Sierra 16, the Highland Chieftain from King's Cross to Inverness. For this run, you will call out Peterborough only. Proceed when you have the road and do not expect a sea of green signals. Have fun. So, Crispy and Chris, who's made this scenario, has left it sort of, how do I say this, usual Chris sort of style. So it will always be a little bit yellowy. It's probably the best way to put it, yellowy. Let's get that on there. Cancel you. Turn you on. Let's get my headlights on. Everything else is set. Check them bad boys. We're good to go. So this actual part of the route is just like this is part of the next phase. Well, one of the next phases. The whole idea with the Cambridge to Peterborough line is that it gave us a base, the sort of hub before we get the spokes. So Cambridge realistically will be the hub, and then there are spokes. So there is the line up to King's Lynn and down to Hitchin, so you can do King's Lynn to King's Cross services. That will be in one of the next phases. There'll also be other phases, some which I can't talk about just yet, but soon enough you will find out about them. So think of this as a phase one more than anything. Oh, DRO being off would help. So I'm actually playing this an hour before release. No, well, longer than that. 2 hours, just under 2 hours before release. So this isn't the final cut, but it is as close as it's probably going to get to a final cut without me having to delay the video to show you it tomorrow. I want to try and make sure that the video goes out at the same time as the route launches. So we have a lovely and detailed Cambridge with the Cambridge Leisure Park car park that was made by James Class 37, very kindly allowed us to use that. We also have Cambridge Power Signal Box, and then we have Cambridge Station itself. So with us, with routes, what we're looking for is a route to feel as it should. So key buildings need to be there. There's sometimes I'm not that fussed about tiny little details in the middle of nowhere. You'll see that with my reviews as well with other routes. So we've got as many sort of key points as we can sort of get in there, which I'm really pleased with. It's been a real learning curve. It's our first full proper route, I suppose. So therefore it's been sort of... Oh, I need to turn that off before you get pings all the way through your video. Little things like what level of detail are we going to with what assets do we want to make new, what assets are we reusing, that sort of thing. Now, with this being a phase one, there is always room for improvements, and that's again part of the joy of having a subscription model, is that updates for the routes can come out and we don't have to think about massively reinvesting to fix them if there was anything drastic or anything like that, which is lovely. There will always be patches that come out Really looking forward to the first patch. I know of a few things already that have got going to the first patch that just won't get done in time before release. But they are teeny tiny. And if you guys notice them, I apologise. But none of the beta testers did. They noticed a lot, don't get me wrong, and a lot of that got sorted. One of the key buildings I want to point out is this replacement here. There is a replacement for this. It's going in. It's just not going to be done in time for phase 1. So I do apologise for that. But the rest of it, really pleased with. Remember, the route's set in 2018, 2019-ish. So we sort of aim it to be pre-flirts. So pre-755, well, not 745s, they don't come down here. But pre-755s. So it means you've got a lot of usage out of things like the 170, the HST diverts, the LNER diverts, 66s. With Guterbahnhof's new 317, that's going to get some use as well. We left a little tidbit in this. We weren't actually going to leave the line up to Littleport Inn, but we have. It's not the best thing in the world. It isn't as well done as the rest of the route because it's still in a different phase. But I've added it in so that we can at least do runs from Littleport to Cambridge with a 317, which is nice. Be nice to give it some use and get some use out of it. I left that on a double yellow, I think, so we should be all right for a little bit. So this is us just coming up to Coldham's Lane road bridge and cycle bridge, and then just after this is the spur that goes off towards Ipswich, but via Newmarket. So that goes all the way up to sort of Chippenham Junction, then joins onto the Ipswich-Ely line. And I am buzzing for that being finished as well. The house I grew up in is actually on that line, so it's going to be really nice to actually have that fully in the game. It's been in before in things like the Cambridge lines, was it called? That was the steam era route. But yeah, it'd be nice to have it in modern times. I'm looking forward to it. This is us coming over Newmarket, underneath Newmarket Road. I actually used to live right there as well, next to Cambridge United Stadium. It's Barnwell Junction, just a disused bit in here. So that, I think that was the line that ended up going out to Mildenhall. But in later years, there was actually a fuel depot that was used up until, I think the last run of that was very early 90s. And that's us going over Fen Drove, and this is us into Cambridge North. We got yellow. We're all right. So part of the interesting bit about Cambridge North is you've got the aggregate sidings just to our left there as well. That'll be really nice for me to do some aggregate runs and seeing some aggregate trains sitting in there. It's one of the things as a kid we used to actually explore in the woods here. This was the Milton Permanent Way Recycling Depot. And when that closed down in the early 90s, it was all fenced off, and there were some bits you could sort of get at, which was quite cool when you were a kid. And it was only in sort of the last, when they started Cambridge North, they took down all the big spotlight towers. This is us coming under the A14. You can always sort of tell who made the scenario, because if it's 274, you know Chris has had his hand in it. So quite a lot of our scenarios have been made by Dom. So I think don't quote me on the exact amount of scenarios. I'm not actually going to say how many exactly there is. I think there's I think it's five or six. I think around that will make it for the final cut. And they have been done by Dom, Chris. There may even be a Matt Carroll one in there as well. I'm not sure. So there's a couple of good ones in there. We don't want to flood you with scenarios straight out of the box, because we want to see what you guys can do. But the ones that are in there are decent. The ones that are in there are decent. One of the things with the Fens is that, in all honesty, if you're from the Fens, they've become very boring very quickly. And if you're not from the Fens, they can become boring very quickly. And there's not visually that much to look at. And most of this line goes through Fenland. So a lot of attention to detail has been placed on things like sort of what I would call sort of track landmarks. So level crossings, foot crossings, route learning points more than anything. And there's a lovely pack that's been made by Jake Fuller, who's worked really, really hard on this route with us. He's done a sterling job on making new foot crossings, new every crossing you can think of. If you look in the manual, there's a list of the stuff that's in there with this. It's a very, very nice pack. Very, very nice pack. We'll have a look at some of those as well. Chris did say it would be a lot of yellows. Didn't mention too many reds though. So it's all the signs and stuff have all been redone. This isn't a perfect example of one, to be honest with you. Some of the other ones are much, much better. That have got the different lights and like the, I can't remember what they call them, like the foot crossing ones with the red and the green. It's really cool little features. And this route was sort of perfect for the development of that because of the amount of level crossings that are on this section. It's huge. Absolutely huge. We'll be up at Water Beach next. That's got a real nice bit as well. I think that's Bates Bite Crossing. So that'd be Bates Bite Lock would be to our right. Which is on the River Cam. Some of the other new features that we've added in are things like, this is actually the original cable trunking, but there's new cable trunking with open lids and sort of not put on back lids, completely open troughing. On a lot of the route videos we have for this, it was actually when a lot of cable work was going on. So we've tried, and a lot of it's actually been relayed, bits of the track were being relayed. So we've tried to sort of mimic a bit of that for the right era with the cable trunking and stuff, and the lines sort of in between the tracks and things like that. So this is a water beach. So again, you can see here the new crossings with all the new little cameras and all of that jazz. So they're quite nice. I do like them. He's done a really good job with them. Seems torture driving the HST down here. But I thought everybody deserved to see something that wasn't in a 170, because that's what I've driven on this, like, every time I've shown it off. Just done the 170 stuff, because that's one of the scenarios we've had. It's just been called 170 test, and it's what we've based pretty much everything we've been looking at visually off. Not necessarily route fixes or anything, but the visual scenery placement has been based off 170 test either way. Just try and keep it as consistent as possible so everybody's looking from the same viewpoint. It's worked quite well, actually. As sort of quite large projects go, and the thing I've got to make clear to you is that, yes, this section is the bit that's been released, but this isn't the only section that's near enough finished at the moment. There are other phases that are pretty much done as well, waiting on models and things, and final clutter. But I always find it really amazing watching the route builders do their stuff, and then me getting bits and pieces, because I go, oh yeah, that looks great, really like that, you're doing a really good job with that, and I think, oh, that must be sort of like a couple of days off being finished, and then like a week later I'm going, where's that route? Surely I saw it the other day and it was looking really good. And then it's a bit like, ah, yes, but it hasn't got this. Oh, and that. So it's amazing how long everything actually sort of takes to really fully come together. And it's been a real learning curve for all of us, I think. We've learned the right way to do some bits, and we've learned the not so right way to do some bits. But I really can't thank the team enough. The guys that have worked on this have just been phenomenal. From Callum to Dom to Ben to Jake to Max to Klaus to Matt to Chris. I think everybody's had their oar in this at some point, doing something with it. It's been an absolute pleasure. Not 100% of the time, but most of the time. So you can see when you get out here now, for many, many years, these were all different types of fields. Were they onions, whether they were wheat, whether they were potatoes, you name it. Lots has been grown in them. But for the past sort of like, I reckon 3 or 4 years, these have literally been grass. And I don't mean like grass for feed grass. No. Turf. They've been either... The farmers leased them to a turf farm or something, but they are turf. So it's like super duper. And I just thought I couldn't just give you grass in a field, because they look like sports fields at the side of the railway line. It's really weird. See, a lot of the fences, a lot of the fields throughout this area now are either turf or solar panels. But luckily in 2018, 2019, there was a little bit of difference. Whee! Train sim bug, not necessarily just the crossings. Doesn't happen all the time, happens sometimes. Just sod's law, bright red car does it on my promo video for it. You know, cheers Train Sim. So I think one of the things the team have done really well with is in the Fens you can literally, in some places, you can see to the horizon. It is like looking over the ocean. It is just flat, and there is the odd house or the odd this or the odd that. I think how they've done it is they've managed to get enough scale of and scope of space without it being just bland everywhere. There are some bits that we've left so you can see for miles, but train sim doesn't really replicate that very well. So it's been a little bit of artistic license, shall we say. It's all well and good building a route exactly how it is in real life. But unfortunately, train sim doesn't always emulate real life that well, especially like scenery wise. So it's always a bit tricky to try and get it what you need it to do. If you drive something like some of the big, really mountainous routes, you'll always notice that the mountains look pony. But we sort of can look past that because it's train sim. We know it can just look pony, and that's why quite often with very sparse routes, it's very hard to get that distant stuff right. Distant scenery is always a tricky thing to match for me. This is us just on the approach into Ely now. So one of the other bits that will be revisited in phase 2 is this bridge. As well. So to tell you the full story of it, there was 2 places that we had arranged for full-blown source visits and drawings and all sorts being sent to us. And one of them was this bridge and the way that the new bit's going in over here. We have some of the paperwork for that now. And another point that we couldn't get to was Whitemore. So both we had arranged stuff for, but just with COVID and things, it wasn't going to happen. So unfortunately, they're going to have to wait till phase 2. If we can get them before phase 2 and get everything sorted, then it will just be bunged in an update for you. And of course that would be free. That's not going to be a charged update at all. But that would be the plan. We've been very lucky that actually the whole drama of this year hasn't had too much of a major effect on us with this, so I'm quite pleased. We've managed it in time. One of the other little fun things that is in this route is Easter eggs. There's quite a few. I'm sure you'll find them. I'm sure if some of you have watched some of my streams and things, you'll be well aware of some of my mods' sense of humours, or lack of, if you ask some people. This is us in Ely. One thing I love about Ely is the underpass, the subway to the platforms. So it was one of the things. Put a bit of power on, let that go, and I'll show you down here. It really was one of the things I wanted to be able to do. Pointless, completely pointless, I know, but I wanted it, and I wanted it in, so it ended up getting put in. So it's one of those things. So this is actually a really interesting crossing here. This crossing was put out of use when the bridge was put in back behind us. But the lights still flash Oh, they did up until they put blue bags on them like a couple of months ago. So it's an out of use level crossing, but the lights still work. The reason this is all still in situ, I am told, by a Colas engineer who was at Ely a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about this. Is for if anything ever happened with a bridge, because it's the only way across the railway, they have kept the level crossing there just in case of emergencies. If you guys know of anywhere else in the country that has that, I'd like to hear. It's like a reserve level crossing. So I know for the fact the guys have been working on the signalling here today and yesterday. Today and yesterday they've been doing bits here. I'm hoping it might be sorted on this version, but it will be before release. And those of you that are familiar with this route will know what this area is here. But this, I think this is tabbable. This no, oh no. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's giving me the right signal. Let's hope the next one gives me the right one as well. We know what the fault is. They should have sorted it. So I'm really hoping it's sorted. Yeah, tab that one. Ely Papworth sidings. So this will be, if any of you guys have ever known anything about where they take stock to sit and rot, a lot of it goes there. A lot of the HSTs went there, the 442s. So this signal is, don't worry, we've sorted this signal. I'm saying that now. First time I've done this scenario, Chris might have actually had that signal as red. So if you play this and you get a red signal there, probably a bye by it. No, might still be the fault then. That's fine. It's also weird how much sort of you can have this in beta testing for as long as you want. And it's always until somebody does something, like roots something somewhere, and go, ah, okay, that hasn't worked. Get that sorted. So we're trying to get those bits done as quick as possible before release. And of course, if there's anything you guys know, if you guys notice that we all haven't noticed in the however many people in the beta hadn't noticed, then by all means let us know and we can get it patched as quick as we can. This is us now out on the stretch up to Maney is next. It's our next station. Funny story about Maney. Once went to a wedding at Maney. And by the time the night was sort of drawing in, it was about sort of 5:30, 6 in the morning. And we all thought, a few of us, me and my brother and a couple of mates, thought if we stay here, we're not going to get home until like Sunday evening. So me being the train geek got asked, can we get the train if we walk to the station? I was like, quite inebriated. I mean, this was sort of 5, 6 in the morning. So I pulled my phone out, had a look on the National Rail Inquiries app, which was what I was still using at that time, and went, yeah, first train's at 7:10. Right, it's about a 5 mile walk. Let's get going. So we took a couple of beers, I think a bottle of wine, I think somebody had. Started walking for this train to get back to Cambridge from Maney. And we're walking through Maney, and we're like, slightly can't work out what's going on with the phone, can't work out direction. It's the train station down there, mate. The first guy goes, yep, station's down there, mate, station's down there. Next guy was sort of a bit lost, like, it's station just down the end here, isn't it, mate? He was like, yeah, but no trains on a Sunday, pal. I was like, he's wrong. My phone tells me there's trains. So we sat at the platform for all of about 20 minutes, and the time went when the train should have come, and I sort of looked at my phone again, and then I just noticed at the top of my phone, it didn't say Sunday, no trains. It just gone straight to Monday. So I'd been thinking that we were getting a train at Monday. So I'd been looking at Monday's train times. Yeah, to say we were not impressed was an understatement. I've never lived it down, and I had to sort out a taxi from Maney train station back to Cambridge. And I can't remember how much it was. Eye-wateringly expensive. And if I remember rightly, it was a rather large gentleman that smelt talcum powder. So you can imagine we all sobered up pretty quickly when we thought we were going to be stuck in Maney, and then all had to walk the 5 miles back. Yeah, and then the hangover sort of kicking in the 45, 50-minute drive through bumpy fen roads. I won't forget it, though. And hey, it's made a good tale for this, hasn't it? But yeah, again, one of the key features we always noticed with a lot of the route videos for the time set was rails in between the track. So we've tried to get those and not just have them very linear or very broken. They sort of wave and move around and everything like that, which is quite nice. Just adds a little bit of dimension, like some of these like that. And here's what we was talking about earlier with the cable trunking. There's not really a spectacular amount of line side stuff. Not been electrified, being quite retro signalling as well. There's not masses to have line side detail wise, but we've tried to get as much of it in as we sort of can. I'm not 60 over these. I'm still 75. So yeah, to say I am proud of this, I'm very proud of this. I've just sort of overseen it and sort of project managed it badly. Project mismanagement is probably the best way to put it. No, it's gone all right, to be fair, but it's been a long journey. But I'm really pleased with it. It's not going to be perfect, nothing ever is. But for our first proper release, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. The new track, the new station assets, the new trackside clutter assets, the level crossings, the way the route's been built, considering it's gone through a few people, is worked out pretty well. Yeah, I'm pleased. Big shout out to Armstrong Powerhouse and Andy S as well for allowing us to use their semaphore signals. So we've got those in the route as well. It's been a labour of love. And those of you that would have done this line in the time this was set will recognise the joyful and wonderful, just randomly dumped brake van that was always at Maney for a long time. In fact, is still there, I think. It may have gone now, actually. And in all my time, I thought that the brake van was in this set of sidings here, was in this siding here. It isn't. I had to go and watch the route video like 4 times. All the guys, I was like, why have you put the brake van in the wrong place? They're just going, no, it's not. I'm like, it definitely is. I know the route 100%. That's in the wrong place. Watch the route learning video. I was like, right. Okay, my bad. There was quite a few moments like that. Quite a few. You know, you just have something set in your head, and it's so set in your head. It just happens. But yeah, I'm buzzing for the next few phases now. I can't really work out what I'm kind of more excited for. Am I more excited for doing sort of Ipswich Peterborough, which I am really buzzing about, or Ipswich Cambridge, or doing sort of like Kings Lynn, King's Cross? That's another one that's a decent line to do. But also doing something like an East Coast main LNER divert that goes from Peterborough down into Ely, down through Cambridge, down through and back onto the main at Hitchin. That would be cool. That would be cool. So, exciting times, really. And whilst the East Anglia's been covered a bit in Train Sim, it's nowhere near as much as other places. So I'm really pleased for living in East Anglia and knowing that we're now covering it. Puts a little smile on my face, and I hope it puts a smile on yours. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys have got some really good cracking scenario ideas for it. We're not out to be the best of anyone or better people or anything like that. We've got to build what we want to do and learn as we're doing it. And I hope you guys see this and sort of get a bit excited about it as well. This is another Jake one. It goes clear again. I like it. See, this bit here is sort of the fenniest bit, really. If you think about places like Ely, March, Chatteris, that sort of thing, it's pretty crazy. Weird, random little hamlets and not a lot else for miles. And this has actually got to be one of my favourite bits on the route. We were really, really lucky that the Friends of March railway station allowed us to come up and get some really good sauce for March Station. Not only that, but showed us round bits that you wouldn't usually get to see, and gave us lots of bits of history about it that we didn't know, and the history of the society in itself as well. It was really good. So big shout out to those guys, and Adrian as well, who showed us around. Really, really, really nice guys. They have sort of like a club room at the end of the platform, and they just come out on their chairs. It's not just old guys, a couple of young guys there as well. so they can sit on chairs on the end of the platform. It's just really cool. I'll go through quite slowly. There's also a little, I think it's an ex-British Railwaymen's club here called the Brazza Club. Now, those of you that know Brazza might think of something else, but it is actually called the Brazza Club. I had a few beers in there, it was quite nice. Very, very much a social club, don't get me wrong, but it was nice. So yeah, there's quite a few bits and pieces, and you'll see that quite a lot's changed since the beta version that we were showing off. We've even now got the Friends of March railway station sign in, and there's a bit around the front with their garden and their plaque and stuff that will get a little bit more at phase 2. There's been new work done up at Whitemoor, so we've tried to go off as little scenery, as little info as we could possibly get. That didn't sound right. As little info as we had, really, and the guys at March really tried to help us out. So it is there. It's not exactly how I would have wanted it. That bit there, but it is, and I'm hoping that we can get an asset done with that in time. Now we've got some pictures of it. Next station pass through will be Whittlesea. So Whitemoor Yard for me is going to be really handy for doing sort of ballast workings, some of the infrastructure stuff that sends out from there, from GBRF, even Freightliner, all sorts of things come out of there, to be fair. High ballast cleaner was there. Some track laying train we saw the last time was there. That was really cool. So it's going to be a lot of ballast stuff because that's pretty much all we've got in train sim, but it'll be cool to do, and especially when we get the bit down to like King's Cross, when we get the Hitchin to Cambridge section done, you'll be able to do like full runs down that way, so north up to Peterborough or south down to London. So it's exciting for me. The scenario potential is big. Oh, had to find that little bit blip there, didn't we? So I can see the chat for the beta group going mental in my eye there. And I'm sitting there going, la 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 la, la 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 la, very nervous, la 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 la. I think a launch of any kind is always a bit nerve-wracking, but when it's as much blood, sweat and tears has gone into it as this. And I think one of the big things for me has been the track. This was done by what used to be called Goosebumhoff, so GU Studios. the lovely George, he did that track for us, and then Ben has tweaked textures so it looks. It's called faux specular rail, is what we've actually called it. As posh as that sounds. So it looks like you're getting the shimmer and the shine on the track. So it's a nice touch. I mean, Chris said there was a lot of yellows in this. By geez, you weren't wrong. So this is sort of the bits, like the bits I was talking about, where you're sort of like in the fens, and then there'll be nothing, 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 nothing. Set of houses, nothing, 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 nothing. Little set of houses, nothing, 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 nothing. Farm, nothing, nothing, nothing. Little set of houses. So is that sort of break from sort of town, industrial, country, industrial, town, country? It does sort of break that up a little bit. It's quite a strange environment to drive in when you're used to going big city to big city. Let's put some power back on. I'm guessing I'm going to be held outside Peterborough at some point. Sorry, I've actually got to reply to this. So it's been a nightmare of a day. My daughter's bashed heads with someone at school today, and had to go to hospital. So she's been admitted probably for the night, which is not much fun. But you can see why it's been a fraught old day. So any of the slight signalling irregularities you're seeing during this, I've picked up a few myself. They're all well known about and are being sorted as we're talking. I just wouldn't have had time to do this with the actual final version. So it was a risk, but it was a risk I was willing to take to give you guys an idea of what you're going to get before you buy it. I try and do that with every developer, so it'd be really bad if I didn't do it for myself, wouldn't it? We're going to get held before Whittlesea? And there's a couple of like we don't want to go heavy on cameos, but there are some quite funny little bits and pieces around. One of the main things, which is quite humorous. Have we passed it? I think we've passed it. You guys will need to find it for yourselves. But there is one of our route builders is a campanologist. And if you know what a campanologist is, it's a bell ringer. Not that type, the big ones with metal things in the middle that go ding dong. No, I don't think I have, but I think it might be after this. So he managed to actually get a full set of church bells in a church on this route in a like 2 kilobyte file or something. It was a bit of a could it be done system. It is round here, I'll show you it. But there is actually animated bells. So this doesn't, I can guarantee you, like 100% guarantee you, this does not affect the route at all, because it's been done in quite a clever way. It was a bit of a test. Why? Why? I don't know. But it was very cleverly done. I quite liked it as a little touch. You can't even see them from the church. You have to go and actually look at them. So yes, that has meant that there are other things that could have gone, that have gone into this route that would have usually affected frame rates that haven't. So it's been a nice little test. Quite a fun way to do it, really, as well, I thought. We're still under cautionary aspects. That's now green. And this is us now coming past the brick pits at Peterborough. So there is still an active quarry on the left-hand side. I really wanted there's actually a drag line that works the pit on the left up here, and I really wanted it like to get a drag line modelled, but the cost was just not worth it. Eventually, I will get my drag line in TS and have it animated. But there's an excavator that puts on some mud, some brick mud on a conveyor, so I was quite pleased with that. So this is it over here. Just one of those features that you really see. If you're into that's what I like, sort of industrial scenery. One of the things I like, probably quite a lot of you guys do, knowing that you like trains and things like that. Trees and forests, yes, they're beautiful, but give me some odd warehouses and scrapyards any day of the week. Big plant equipment. Is there many people that don't get excited about massive, great big diggers or cranes or things like that? Mix those two things together and give me a dragline, a massive, great big crawling dragline. Happy man. It's one of the things I always keep my eye out for on the way up the route. I have been warned we get a red outside Peterborough. That will be this one. Although I'm running a little bit late. No? A little bit early. Am I feeling alright? Early? Me? Chris scenario? If I remember right, there's two things that have got to come past me now. There's a 158, I think, and then a 66. Oh, here, let me just... It's too much for me to read to catch up on just sitting at this red. This is why I was early, you see. This is exactly why I was early. Yeah, it's on its way down. We've got the road. Proper HST driver this time. Notch 5. Can you imagine window hanging with that going past you? No, thank you. Oh, no, 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 no. Ah, no, I forgot that was going to be red. Wouldn't be a me video without a SPAD. Approved. Fine. Not a SPAD. Was a SPAD. Definitely 100% is a SPAD. I've got to take it very easy through this bit. But it's not a SPAD because the game said I didn't SPAD. It's a SPAD. But it said I didn't, so it's fine. I had in my head that AWS was the Morpeth. So I was just going to get my reduced speed. Should have given it enough time to give us a clear out here anyway, because it should have just kicked that 158 over. I just don't have points, it's fine. So for those of you that are familiar with Railcam, you're now coming into the area where Railcam is, pretty much. It's up here on the left. It's here. There's one. Oh, somebody's put them in. There you go. There's your Railcams. And we're in at platform 5 at Peterborough. A minute late. So there's going to be the question, is the updated Peterborough going to be in the East Coast Main Line merge? Yes, it will be. In the next couple of phases, it will be in there. So you'll now have a up-to-date Peterborough, which is a godsend, really. It's going to be very nice having a proper Peterborough for people to use. Ah, it's my first full run of that. I'm quite pleased. So I really hope you guys do enjoy it. So again, this is available over on AlanThompsonSim.com. Heading over there, $19.99 for non-subscribers, and subscribers get their 50% discount, which brings it down to $9.99 for them. So, once again, guys, thanks ever so much. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Heading over to AlanThompsonSim.com for your latest and greatest training needs, including this wonderful route. Heading over to Twitch on a Sunday and Wednesday from 7 PM for some sort of adult-themed chat about trains. Also, head on over to the Facebook group. That'll be the best way to keep up what's going on with Twitch, what's going on with the videos, and also have a general chit-chat with people about real trains, simulated trains, planes, that sort of thing. So, once again, guys, thanks so much, and I shall catch you next time.